Hello and welcome to Let the Good Dice Roll. This is episode 20.
Woo!
Yeah, right. We made it 20 fucking weeks into doing this. This is kind of impressive. My name is Brendan and I am joined by
Christina, hi guys!
and on this episode we're doing something smart and I have Google pulled up for places that I don't know all the information off the top of my head because they weren't interesting enough to include in my actual campaign.
I mean, we had a lot of abyssals to deal with, but we didn't really deal with abyssal shadowland areas, I guess is a good way to put it.
You guys also didn't really deal with the South and the West, which this game appears to be very focused on. Along with like last episode, you had mentioned Ontang, and I spent a good 5 minutes looking through my third edition rulebook, going, "Where the fuck is Ontang? Where the fuck is Ontang?" Not realizing that Ontang is a whole basically small state with multiple areas in it. And yeah, so in looking back through that, Ontang is one of the homes to the. So one of the people that you were talking about fighting in one of the last episodes were the brides of Atlat, I think.
Uh, sure, let's go with that.
Yeah, I think that they were. So Atlat is the southern god of war, and the brides of Atlat are basically god-blooded warrior women.
Huh, interesting.
And they're like a small subsect of anti-realm people because Ontang used to be a really big solar city back in the day, but now it isn't and is usually canon controlled by the realm. But in this case, got taken over by the First and Forsaken Lions Abyssal Circle.
Yep, we take over all the things.
So to start us off, since I didn't do a whole lot of talking last time before the questions came in. I went off on a small tangent about Nexus and why did I hate Nexus.
About what, 3 episodes ago?
No, literally last episode.
Did we?
Yeah, it was literally last episode.
Oh, see, my week is weird, so.
So anyway, the thing that I could not remember about Nexus was the name of the thing that shows up if you fuck around in Nexus and make Nexus hate you, is this creature called the Emissary, which
Emissary has different meanings to me now after
Yeah.
Stormflux.
right. So well, actually no, it's got probably about the same power level as one of those. In Realm Year 52, a being called the Emissary appeared and took control of Nexus in the name of the Council of Entities, largely killing anyone who opposed them. A similar fate greeted the officers of the 7th Legion who occupied Nexus in Realm Year 75. The 7th Legion being the people from Lookshy.
Well, okay, so to be fair, emissaries are the little things that you fight. The Herald's that big one in Stormflux.
Okay, so this is probably
Herald level.
this is probably
maybe.
Herald level. It literally single-handed took out a legion.
Yeah, so that's Herald or God Beast level. If
Yeah.
we're talking in Stormflux terms. But
Yes.
back to Nexus.
The only so I take back my statement on Nexus being total and utter shit. Its only good contribution to Exalted Canon is founding the League of Many Rivers, which turns into the Scavenger Land Confederacy in my game.
Oh, okay.
That is their only contribution to Exalted Canon, in my opinion.
You hate them 5 or 10% less than you did before.
Yes, I hate them 5 or 10% less than I did before. Their government is still bullshit. Their economy is still dumb. They do start. Well, their economy is basically what lets you trade with everyone else in the world. And there's literally 6 solar graves in there that basically double as beginner level dungeons for Solar Exalted.
Funny you mentioned solar level areas. That'll come up in a little bit.
All right, so with that tangent out of the way, let's I guess get through these 2 sessions so then I have stuff that I actually remember being a part of and
we have 2 sessions before Brendan's character even comes in. So this first one that we're going to talk about is a little bit long. It was on Sunday, May the 20th, 2018. So the weird thing was we were missing Jess and Lewis, so we didn't have Mercy and Cavalier. So it was just Ark, Shepherd, and Vision walking around doing bullshit. So we basically just had Jess and Lewis T-posing in the background.
As you do. I find that T-posing people tends to help out.
Yeah,
So,
or you just do what I did to Mori in this last mage session that people will get to eventually, and just kind of have to Jaeger pilot them.
yeah, or you have to, or you do what we did to Ryan in the latest Iron Kingdoms campaign that went up, where that it was the one where he missed, so he was asleep in the caravan. He was asleep in the
Yeah,
wagon the whole time.
we just stuffed him and put blankets and stuff around him, so he's all super comfy. So for this one, we basically discussed what we want to do. If we want to go after deal with the general or go after the assassin, and we decided to go after the assassin desolator. And without getting into specifics, my character had to requisition a soul steel weapon because she wasn't allowed to use the fun flavor I used to use for Scythe Hand. So what I used to do for Scythe Hand for Arc was she was a crafter, so she had like ink spots all over her outfit and stuff like that, and she had papers and basically pens and all different writing implements. So what she used to do for Scythe Hand is she would pull out an implement that had ink with it, and she would fling the ink at people, and it was these inkly, ghostly hands that would attach to people and just sink into their being, and they basically would have to make like a Constitution save or something like that for it, to like resist it fucking with their form. And it was kind of neat like that. Or I think I was allowed to do con damage with it instead, because I don't think there was a save for Scythe Hand, if I remember correctly.
I don't think that there was.
I don't remember what it was, but yeah, it was a nice flavor, but everybody else was using soul steel weapons, and they got +1 to attack and damage, and because I wasn't using a soul steel weapon, I didn't get that buff, so I requisitioned a weapon so that I could get that buff, but it kind of killed the flavor a little bit, but it is what it is. Shepard ends up summoning some undead, and Vision tries to figure out how to get in contact with Grief. So we find out that there's a secret phrase called "looks like nasty weather," which the response is going to be "a storm is coming." We end up going to Nexus, which is why Brendan went on this spiel about Nexus. We're in Nexus now. We're trying to figure out the best way to hunt down Grief. Shepard ends up canvassing the area, asking this phrase to pretty much everybody, which brings me back to the creation ruling mandate for the main campaign. About 12 people later, we find someone who actually has the correct response to the secret phrase. This person's name is Dwayne. I don't know why, it was just Dwayne.
That sounds like, oh yeah, I have a great name, and it's a good name.
Yeah, I have a name, and it's a good one too. It's Dwayne.
They recently the last episode of Iron Kingdoms that goes up before this comes out actually has that encounter where you guys meet the one survivor of the leapfrogs.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, he's got a name. It's a good name. It's Duck. And then you guys encouraged me to make him Duck Duck Goose.
Yeah.
That's why episode 4 is named Duck Duck Goose.
Oh wow. So Dwayne leads us down somewhere, and we find out that he doesn't know Meticulous Owl directly. So he leads us to a brothel called the Alibi. And they mentions something about a council of entities. I don't have specific notes on this. And we get introduced to a guy with this black and gold attire and a mask, so we just assume that this is Grief. And in exchange for getting Desolator for us, this person needs us to raid some tombs. And basically, there were the people in the tombs that, the tombs were made for were killed, and they were in, each tomb has a piece of an artifact in its possession. And I believe, I don't remember if he told us specifically what it was or just described it to us. I think he described it to us so we knew what we were looking for. And my character, being my character, Arc just had the knowledge. She figured out that it was this sword called the Hand of Hell. And it's a blade forged by demons, made of black lead and Malthian bronze. I had an out-of-character moment. I was like, Malthian bronze. Oh, so, like, we're dealing with infernal stuff. Okay, cool. And Joe's just like, you guys don't know what infernals are. And I was like, alright, fine, whatever. But basically, these solars got a hold of it and broke it apart so that it couldn't be used. It's a pretty powerful artifact, and no one really knows what it's used for, just that it's powerful and that the use of it is lost. But just, all of the bad stuff. And apparently Grief can't use it because he's immortal.
Hmm.
Yeah, you laugh because you know later on.
Yeah.
But he won't tell us what he wants it for, just that he wants this blade. And for some fucking reason, we agree to go and get it for him. So each of the like I said, each of the pieces is in a different one of these solar tombs, and it's a full solar circle of tombs, all located in Nexus, which is why when you mentioned that, I thought it was really funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, yeah, because we mentioned earlier that there's a bunch of basically D&D style dungeons in there.
Yeah. We all the three of us and our two T-posed companions all head out. We decided instead of just splitting the group and each going to one tomb, we decided to go together because don't split the party. The first one is in the Nighthammer.
Never split the party.
Sometimes it works. Very rarely does it work. You have to have confident people to be able to make that work. Because you have to remember, there's plenty of times that Storm went off on her own in our campaign and she was fine.
Yep.
But that's because she had a lot of bullshit.
Yes.
Specifically, so she could go off on her own and be okay.
Mm-hmm. So, to kind of backtrack just a second, I wanted to actually, I forgot to mention this for the first time, but Meticulous Owl, the one of the First and Forsaken Lions' only canon Death Knights, has a weird history, and he's basically the Lion's super spy master. So, like, anything that happens in creation goes through Meticulous Owl to go to the Lion.
Which is why he was our point guy for a lot
Which
of
is
this.
why he was your point guy. But, ironically, he has between first and second edition, he has a shifting cast, at least according to the Exalted wiki.
Oh.
He's originally a daycast Exalted, which is what I think that Joe has him in that.
I believe that's Joe's canon, was that he's a daycast.
But in the second edition, he's instead a Moonshadow cast, and he's actually a madman. He is, he is not actually associated with the First and Forsaken Lion, but one of the things, or he is, but he's not, like, the master spy guy. His big thing that he actually does is he helps, in canon, as far as I can tell, break the Seal of 8 Divinities, which brings alchemicals into the world.
Weird. Neat, but weird.
Neat, but weird, yeah. No, I really like this, having the wiki open to, like, give fucking tidbits bit. This is really fun.
Just make sure we say it's from the wiki, so people, cite
our
sources.
Yeah, I'm citing my source of Wikipedia. I'm sure that all of my college professors are gonna hate me.
How many of them do you think listen to this?
None of them.
So I think we're fine.
Maybe one day. I had, like, one really cool computers teacher in college.
I had some interesting teachers that are really cool, but I don't think they would really, as obvious as and not well, like, spread my last name is. If you see it, you kind of recognize it, and you don't really forget it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so getting back to this.
The first one we go to is in the Nighthammer district. It's this tomb of red hot iron, and basically you can't touch the building. I actually have in big bold letters, all caps, "Don't touch building." It's this.
If I recall, you get instantly murdered.
It doesn't instantly murder you, but it hurts. It's this big fire brick building. And because there's just this intense heat coming from it, we could only get so close, except for Ark. Ark could literally just walk up to it. She's the only one that could go near it, and it didn't do anything to her. So she goes in, and she finds all these tools that she's never seen before, and everything in there is orichalcum.
So so the reason for that most likely, and this is just me doing hypothesis and little
Before
like
I spoil what it actually is.
yeah. So before you spoil what it actually is that obviously, as we know, abyssal souls used to be solar souls. So what it most likely is me just kind of guessing here, is that this was probably one of your former incarnations, and upon it recognizing you, it allows you in.
So she goes up to it. Like I said, all the materials and tools are orichalcum, and there's this big sarcophagus of orichalcum sitting there. There's, like we said, it's a blade that we're looking for. So she finds the piece of the blade, and when she touches it, she hears this voice in her head, and it's a long spiel. So bear with me here. This is the voice in her head. This is what it's telling her. And I'm going to say it just in the voice that I explained it to the group, too, which is great. When will the pain stop? Somebody please make it stop. I can't take it anymore. The ground beneath me is drenched in my own blood, yet I still feel the pain. I can't take this anymore. I wish I could just move my body, even if just a little. If I'm going to die, I at least want to die comfortably. Ugh, it's pointless anyway, soon I'll be dead. This is so annoying. Why am I so weak? I can make it out of this mess. I know I can, so why am I still here? Come on, stupid body. Stop being so weak. I can make it. We can make it. Stop being so weak. Can't think straight anymore. Everything's becoming a blur. I should lay down. Let the blood flow back to my brain. Yes, I will lay down. This will help me figure out how to make it out. Or at the very least, it'll save my energy until somebody finds me. Surely somebody will find me. This is it, isn't it? I'm going to die. I know it now. Oh god, I'm going to die right here, all alone. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. There's so much. There's too many people. I don't want to die. I'm cold. I wish there was somebody to hold me or something to warm me. I feel no pain, not any longer, but my body keeps shivering to warm itself up. But I'm still cold. Forgive me. And because Ark has the knowledge word, Joe let me read it verbatim to the group, because she would have been able to just it back out to them. But yeah, that's the voice she heard in her head. It was a woman's voice. And Ark comes out and she has the handle of the blade. And as I said, she's smart enough to remember the whole thing, so she basically just repeats it to everybody. We go to the next tomb, which is on Sentinel's Hill. It's a tomb of candle-eyed skulls. And it's night and fire is burning in all of these skulls. So, as we mentioned earlier, Devin likes to make, as Shepard likes to make these huge amalgamations, war joggers. And we have dubbed the war joggers Steve. So, we're those stupid people that every time he makes a new Steve, we dub it as a new one. So this is Steve the 82nd. I'm pretty sure we haven't actually gotten up to 82nd, but that was the number we decided on.
Okay.
So Steve the 82nd tries to go up there to the gates because Shepard ordered him to do it, and he basically gets firebombed once he goes through the gate. Basically, Shepard goes through and the gate closes behind him. And it's this chapel. So I find it kind of weird that Steve couldn't go through, but because he's a creation of Shepard, but here we are. I guess it makes sense because it was a Solar's tomb. And you don't want an undead amalgamation going in there.
Right? Yeah, no, that's a creature of darkness. It would just immediately go, nope.
Yeah. So Shepard goes in there and he finds the strong of the blade, which is it's the area that's the closest to the handle, and it's the part that's used to block with. And so he grabs that out and finds out that the place used to belong to the Solar known as the Pristine Shepherd of Glory and Promise.
Yeah, that sounds like that. What Joe's doing is he's showing you your old exaltations.
Yeah. That was the straw that kind of broke the camel's back on all of our thinkings of, yeah, this is for sure what's happening. We speculated it with mine, but this is exactly what it is.
It's a really common trope to do with those 6 tombs.
Then we go to the Tomb of Keening Spirits. It's this plain, ugly vault. There's like spirits and pulverizing fights, and Jess, as her character Mercy, goes through, and she sees and hears voices. It's a male's voice, and she finds the pommel there. Then we go to the Bastion District, which is the Tomb of Singing Blades. It's a diamond fitted with an orichalcum door. There's thousands of whirling daggers around it, and the voice that Lewis's character Cavalier hears in his head is a female voice. Then we go to Tomb of Night, which is in the Nexus District. Go figure why that's called that. I don't know.
I think it's the center of the city.
Probably. So when Vision touches this, so there's this giant just sphere of darkness there, and when Vision touches it, she feels just this pleasant coolness all over, and she just goes into this ball of blackness, and she finds the weak of the blade, and hears a male voice in her head. Well, like I said, Brendan's totally right. These are totally our past incarnations tombs from when we were all Solars before we became Abyssals. And after we bring all the pieces together, when they're in the same vicinity as one another, they basically magnetize together and reform into the blade that we need. But once this happens, none of us pick it up, because, we're all kind of like, we don't know what to do with this. But we get this weird message from a woman that speaks to Grief, and then, we hear something, I don't remember what it was we heard, but then the voice speaks to Grief, and he picks up the sword, and the woman appears, or she, comes out, I don't remember her specifics on it, I just remember there being a woman, her talking to us, her talking to Grief, Grief picking up the sword, and he's fine to pick it up, something like that. And so we're all walking with her, and all of us are just kind of like, what the fuck is this woman about? This is really weird. So Ark's sitting and analyzing, her armor, because the way Joe described it was very weird.
Okay.
Not in that, not canon weird. It's definitely canon. But it's one of those things that, Ark is a crafter who can make armor. She actually made Cavalier's armor. And makes weapons and just crafts in general. It kind of, pinged to her, let me look at this. So she had taken out her sketchbook and was just doodling in that and drawing it out. And the woman's armor is star metal. And I'm not allowed to know what infernals are, but I sure as fuck am allowed to know what sidereals are.
That's a weird choice, because sidereals are technically erased from the memory of everyone. So I could understand if you had seen and interacted with a sidereal before, but you hadn't. So how? But yeah,
I don't know. It was enough for me to know star metal goes with sidereals, basically. So I assumed she was a sidereal, and the way she was acting was kind of canon to how sidereals be.
Yeah.
So while Ark is sketching this, she actually writes on the bottom, sidereal next to the sketch.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of pins it to the side so that her allies can read it. Basically, pointing out what she is. And we talked to her a little bit while we walked back to the apartment area, and she actually allows us to remember her. Which we're all just like, this can't be good. Why would she let us remember her?
So one of the more interesting side notes here is that, as that everyone has noticed, there are a bunch of solar tombs in Nexus. Well, why the fuck would you want solar tombs? One in Nexus, but I don't know why Nexus decided to build Nexus near solar tombs. That seems like a very poor planning decision on their part. But why would solar tombs be there? Well, solar tombs were pretty common after the Great Usurpation, because what do you get when super powerful things die? You get fucking ghosts, unless of course you appease them. So those tombs were made in the hopes of appeasing solar ghosts, which they did. But you notice that there aren't a shit ton of solar tombs surrounding creation, which is, obviously not everyone had the great idea of, let's bury these fuckers with all their regalia and everything, because that's the respectful thing to do. So by not doing that, that's where you get a lot of fucking Death Lords from.
Makes sense. So we get to these apartments, and we have to say the code phrase when we get to the door, which is, it's going to be a dark night. We find out that it's an assassin's guild named the Silence. and it was a formerly like this place, or like the person who runs it, I think it was formerly a part of the Mask of Winters. So bringing in other Death Lords. I don't know exactly what it means, but I have Devourer of Fortunes written. So I don't know if that was supposed to be the sidereal person we met, or if that's the leader of the Silence, or whatever. And Brendan's gonna Google Devourer of Fortunes to see if it's a canon thing or not, and I'm just gonna keep going. But I think that's the person that we interacted with there. But basically, we were told to lead him to his ultimate goal, which I believe was in reference to grief.
No.
Maybe not.
Nope, this is not a canon thing.
Alright.
Wait.
Devourer of Fortunes is not canon to whatever.
Nope. I got some stuff for Wizards 101 on here.
Yeah, no.
I got some stuff for War Machine on here. That's kind of cool.
I don't know. Maybe that's where Joe got it from. Who knows?
I don't think that.
But yeah, we were told lead him to his ultimate goal, and we learned from Desolator that the sword is supposed to turn a mortal into a god. Which, if you haven't figured out by now, this whole thing is sketchy as fuck. Just sketch. Basically, Desolator needs us to assassinate someone, this mortal named Madara Kashari. And
that sounds like it's from fucking Naruto.
Right? The name Madara, that's what I said. When Joe said Madara, I was like, I can't not think of Naruto right now. I just can't not think of it. I don't know if that was his intention or not, but I couldn't help but think of it regardless.
I don't think it was, but...
we also found out that there's a person called, and I'm gonna butcher the name, Calabero?
Okay.
Has been a friendly rival of Desolator. His phrasing to apparently not gain residence because, can't talk about your past life and shit like that.
Right.
And he would prefer he not die, but he's a solar also, apparently.
So that means that in an Abyssal game, you basically have a fucking death sentence.
Yeah. So we discuss, a plan of how to handle the situation. While we're doing that, we hear glass breaking, and we spring into action. Shepard decides he's going to go after this Calabero person. Vision and Desolator go after Madara, and Ark attempts to barricade the door to try to delay the guards of the situation. We end up killing Madara.
You're really good at delaying guards.
Maybe.
This happens more.
I'm just good at delaying people in general, because it's not hard to do. But we kill Madara and take his head back to the Silence, and they offer Desolator membership, but he ends up deciding to come back to Faffle with us. And as a reminder, if you haven't listened to the last episode, Faffle is the first Forsaken Lion. That was our running joke. And we find out that the full title of this group is called The Silence of the Departed, and we can basically use them as allies or spies now, and Desolator has become a minion of ours. / Faffles.
Okay.
And Faffle wants us to find out what Grief is up to if we end up seeing them again. And he says that when we bring up this lady that we're like, yo, we're pretty sure she's a sidereal, he's just like, oh, well, she's probably a member of the Brass faction. And yeah, so that was awkward.
Okay, so the Brass faction would be the Sidereals who are
siding with Malfians.
Who are siding with fucking Hell Beasts, which does not sound very Sidereal to me.
Right, but here we are.
That's not very cash money of you, bro.
Well, we decided to do. So Joe has the system set up with missions. I don't remember if I mentioned it before or not. And he sends out minions and things to go and do shit, and things that we do from missions. We get goods and whatnot.
We mentioned it last time because I had mentioned that I was thinking about doing something like that during our game. That's right. Yeah.
Well, we get 3 grave goods. We intercept a missive, which we turn in for some reputation. So we've got a +1 reputation with Faffle now. And
+1 reputation.
Yeah.
Only 11,999.
Well, our standing with
more
Faffle,
rep points to go.
Our standing with Faffle is at 7 now.
Yeah, but you need to get those 11,999 points more to go to get up to honored with Faffle.
Right.
Little wow joke
yeah,
right there.
Right. Well, we pick up Night Shroud as a minion. We get an Essence Battery, and we get a choice of 2 artifacts and a Hearthstone.
Wow, you guys got essence batteries a lot quicker than I fucking gave them out.
But yeah, so that was the end of that session.
Okay.
The next one is much shorter. It's only like a page long.
Jesus.
So the next session is Sunday, July 15th, 2018.
Oh, we are now actually ahead of where that we are in canon for my, or in actual real meat space time for my game.
Yeah. So at this point, unfortunately, Devin had to drop because of work stuff. So we just have Lewis as our Duskcast Cavalier, Jess as our Moonshadow Mercy, Jamie as our Day One Vision, and myself as our Daybreak Architect or Arc. So when we get there, it's just starting off with Jess and Lewis and me. Jamie's going to end up showing up a little bit later. But we found out, cause we already did the assassin mission, so now we gotta do the general mission. We find out about this powerful general named Klaxon. He is a fire-aspected terrestrial, or was a fire-aspected terrestrial in the first stage. He saw folly with the Solar Deliberative, and he conspired with the War Council versus the Solar Leer, so he was named a betrayer. And capital B betrayer. So his knowledge of solars, could be useful if we could get him to our side. So we seek him out to change his mind about joining us because I guess, Faffle has reached out to him before and he's like, eh. But, yeah. So we ask him to basically join Death in Oblivion. And Faffle gives us a small soul steel cage to pull his spirit into. Which is that small, cage that I end up carrying around in canon for our game with the lantern type
Okay.
thing. Yeah. So we go south of Paragon, which, did you pull up stuff for Paragon?
I did pull up stuff for Paragon. Okay. Did you guys actually go to Paragon? Because Paragon's super fucked up.
Well, we go south of Paragon, so we're not in Paragon.
Man, Joe missed a fucking golden opportunity to have you guys deal with the perfect of Paragon. So, Paragon is a super fucked up place where if you don't obey the fucking rules of Paragon, you get screwed. Very, very reminiscent of Nexus, but way more reasons why that it's very similar to how Nexus has like the emissary that'll just fuck you up if you're screwing up in Nexus. But so the perfect of Paragon is basically this mortal who gets a hold of a scepter called the so the perfect of Paragon is using an old realm artifact from a solar called the Scepter of Peace and Order that was created by a solar in the first stage to impress her megalomania upon creation. The scepter impressed the knowledge of how to use it upon the nascent upon the perfect, and it imposed a drive to reconstruct the domain of stately order, which is what Paragon used to be called. And basically what it does is, hey, you're in Paragon. Obey the laws of Paragon. Are you obeying the laws? Cool, you're good in Paragon. Are you not obeying the laws of Paragon? Yeah, you get a mark put on you and no building will welcome you in. And during the night, you are hunted to death by the people of Paragon.
I'm down with this.
Right? It's a super interesting, plot hook to, throw anyone into. To, be like, oh yeah, we broke the law. Now you got this mark. Now I can't go into buildings. And now it's nighttime. Why is the entire population hunting me down? What the actual fuck? So yes, you guys missed a perfect opportunity to have some fun in Paragon.
We would have been probably awful in Paragon.
You guys probably would have just murdered all of Paragon.
Maybe. Well, we end up going south of Paragon. Oh, I forgot, Arc finally gets her soul steel weapon.
Okay. It was a sword, right?
I believe it was some kind of sword. I don't know if it was like a short sword or what have you, or a dagger or whatever.
Should have been a soul steel paintbrush.
I wish it could have been, but that doesn't count as a weapon, according to people.
There's
we're not gonna get into it.
No. I am going to get into this. There are performance charms that allow you to hurt people emotionally. Also, in Godbound, you can take psychic/emotional damage, so it is totally a thing that would work in both systems.
It's fine. I'm mildly salty about it. I am less salty than I was at the time. Anyways, we go through.
Still lets me go off on small tangents, and I love going off on small tangents. Small tangents are my life.
We go through a field of swords and navigate through that bullshit. We get to
like a literal field of swords?
Yes.
Are they pointed up or down?
What do you think?
Up?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's cooler if they're pointed down. Then it looks like there was like a dope ass battle that happened there.
Yeah, no, this was to keep people from not wanting to go there. That's why we had to carefully navigate through the field of it without getting cut. So we get to the Tomb of the Betrayer, and we have to climb up it. We find out through our scholarly means that the Tomb of the Betrayer is for Klaxon and his war council, who were forcibly entombed here. We know that it should have some defense mechanisms, and that this is a domain, so we could eventually control it and use it as a mons.
Yep.
Which is kind of cool. We enter the room, and the red Diclave is at the end of the room just sitting there, and there's a shitload of zombies all around.
Oh no, zombies for fucking abyssals to deal with. Whatever will we do?
Well, funny story, Mercy tries to use command on them, and it doesn't work on the undead.
That doesn't seem very cash money.
So, Ark uses the death word, because remember how we talked about last session about the death word having like this passive where it lets you control some, undead?
Mm-hmm.
She uses her passive to command 20 of them to turn on each other and start fighting the other ones. Cavalier goes up to the sword and grabs it, and they move forward and begin attacking Cavalier, so we have to keep fighting them at that point.
Okay.
We find this large stone and a jade sarcophagus on top of a dais. There's rotten, stale air in the area and these big stairs. So the sarcophagus is standing up and is sealed as if it were just one piece, and there's an inscription on the side of it. So when Cavalier goes up to look at it, the fires and whatnot are lit at that point. And the three of us, since we don't have Vision with us yet, it's just Mercy, Cavalier, and Ark, which is an interesting group to have together, basically get pushed back to where they started. And the undead war council of the three that were Klaxon's war council basically are arisen. And Klaxon appears on the dais himself and asks us, "Why are you here?" Well, we tell him that he's been called to the service of the First and Forsaken Line, and he basically tells us no. And
as you do.
Yeah. And he asks, what are we going to do about it? Remove him from his tomb? And we're just like, yeah, pretty much. And then, Jamie shows up, and now we have a group of 4 to fight 4 people, which we do. We fight Klaxon and his 3 generals. We find out that Klaxon can jump from body to body of his War Council minions. One of them, or him, can use fire attacks, which don't really surprise us, because, he was a fire aspect terrestrial in the first age. Surprise! This is my unsurprised face that the listeners can't see, but it's definitely my unsurprised face. So there's just fire everywhere. Klaxon ends up downing Cavalier, and he has to go into Divine Fury. Have we ever explained Divine Fury?
No, we have never explained Divine Fury.
Explain that real quick.
So Divine Fury is a once a level thing that you get to use. It refreshes once you get a new level, but you can only use it once a level. And basically, when you're reduced to 0 or below HP, you basically pop back up at half your effort, half your HP, and you have as many rounds as you have levels to act and finish off your foe before you basically go into like a small coma. And if you can't do that, anything can kill you at that point. So basically you get unlimited god power for like a couple seconds, and then if you can't finish your goal by then, like, get fucked, buddy.
So Cavalier goes into Divine Fury, but the nice thing was if it got really bad, Arc had Withholding the Mercy, which
So you could have kept him at death's door.
basically, yeah. I could have kept him up for a little bit longer. Well, Cavalier, in his Divine Fury, ends up downing Klaxon, and Klaxon, surrenders and swears loyalty, because at that point, what you gonna do? Die?
Again?
Yeah, right? So we take him back to Faffle, and Klaxon ends up putting the sword that we kind of were after, but not actually after, because we were more after him than the sword. He ends up putting it back for probably the next generation to use, I guess. I don't really know.
I mean, that's a really Dragon Blood thing to do. They kind of pass down their artifacts.
Yeah. Oh, so I can tell you what Withholding the Mercy does real quick. Those reduced to 0 hit dice or hit points within 200 feet of you automatically stabilize or die as you wish. If you desire it, allied creatures at 0 hit points around you may continue to act for as many rounds as you have levels before they unavoidably fall dead. So I could keep them alive for a little bit longer, only 2 rounds at that point, because we were only level 2 at that point. Is actually after that session with Klaxon that we leveled up to 3.
Okay.
Yeah, and because that's the end of that session, actually.
So this next session is when the I get to come in.
Alrighty. So, this is going to be the last session for the evening for this episode. It was Sunday, July 29th, 2018. So for this one, we've got Cavalier, Mercy, Vision, Architect, and Devin was actually able to come back because things worked out with work, so Shepard's back in this episode also. We also have the introduction of 2 new players. Our friend Andrew, who will be playing a particular person that we'll mention later on, and then Brendan, who is coming in as well.
Yep. I finally know what's going on in this game.
Right? So starting out, it was just, we did not have our lovely neighborhood mercenary. Oh, sorry, not mercenary, but, merciful release of death, Mercy, and Vision starting off. They ended up coming in later or not at all. I can't remember which. So the spy
I think they both showed up that game.
That's possible. I keep notes on when people come in and out, so we'll see. So our spy master and Faffle's employee, who he hasn't heard from in a while, is kind of off somewhere, and we need to find him. His name is Death Knell?
Death Knell? That sounds right.
Yeah, Death Knell sounds better than Neil. Death Knell. He is, we get told that he's in an island out to the west called Alahi City, which is where he operates on Creation side. There's a trio, I can't talk tonight, a trio of lessers, I don't know what lessers are supposed to be, I guess lesser subordinates, that are his direct subordinates.
Yeah, that sounds right.
They're ghost-blooded.
Okay.
Just gonna talk like this till I can talk right. We find out there's a moon shadow who will help us travel there, so we end up going to the Silent Crest, and we find out that the font of morning is a Shadowland. I don't know, I think you looked up something for font
The font of morning is a Shadowland out in the west. That's all I could find. There's no real info on it online.
Oh, alright, good to know. Well, we find these 2 figures that are crossing the vast land of grass in the Shadowland, because I don't know why there's grass in the Shadowland.
It's probably dead grass.
Probably. And we find out that one of them is fucking Grief, which is Andrew's character. Yay!
Yay! The secret of, 5 minutes has been revealed.
Right? And we're all kind of give this collective, when we see him.
Oh, you again.
Yeah. Well, we all are kind of a little, sketched out by his interactions with that lady. And, her
Right.
being a Sidereal on this sword of hell and stuff like that. But we trade pleasantries with them, and we meet Brendan's character.
Do you have his full name written down?
I do. Give me 1 second. The void within all men without compassion or regrets.
So he is either void or void within without.
Yeah.
Those were the ways that people called him. Void is I don't know if you have the description down there for him, but he is a mummy-looking samurai with a soul steel longsword and a uh, at his hip, and his right hand is a massive soul steel smash fist with a mouth in the center of it. And he's also wearing a what looks to be kind of like a WWE championship belt with a bunch of like medals missing from it.
Yeah, he's great. He's totally great. We find out from Void.
His voice is the best. I'm trying. Hello, my name is Void Within Without. How are you doing today?
It was supposed to be like a Jigsaw voice, but it turned into that,
Yes.
if I remember correctly.
I would like you to carve off a piece of your own butt and put it in the bucket so you can raise the portcullis.
I think there were so many things wrong with what you just said.
It's an action.
And-
It's from a fucking my brother and me sketch, which is where I got the fucking voice from.
Okay.
Yeah.
Void ends up telling us that the Berater of Thrills saved him from oblivion, and was at one point the bishop's best swordsman before he walked away from him. And I don't know if you want to say anything about Bishop or not.
The bishop is a death lord out in the west, and I basically walked away because he wasn't letting me do what I wanted to do, which was hunt down the people who had betrayed me in life.
Sounds great. We make it to Whitegrave. Grief apparently knows Death.
Death Knell.
No, like he wanted to say Neil for some reason.
Death Knell was such. Is this the one? This is the one where that we do the passion thing, right?
Probably.
Oh my god, I have the best fucking interaction with this at some point.
I don't know.
I hope
we'll see.
if you did not put it down there, I'm going to interrupt you and put it down.
Let me get it to see if that's where it's at. It might be or might not be. Grief says he knows Death Knell, and takes up the lead to go to find him. Grief slips notes and says passwords and codes along the way so he can get through. We eventually find DK, not to be confused with Donkey Kong.
Does he have his own rap?
We could make a rap for
We
him.
could make
point.
a Death Knell rap.
Yeah.
Look forward to that next episode. Don't look forward to it. I'm not doing it.
That. Yeah, we're not actually gonna do that. He needs us to sort of corral his subordinates. We find out that Courage of Fools, it just says tender delivery to make, a package delivery.
Okay,
Something
yeah.
is keeping him from making it.
So he wants us to deliver packages. We're abyssals, and he wants us to, and this dude wants us to deliver packages for him.
Yeah, and then Feast of Nothing wants us to do a smuggling operation. Cobweb of Lies wants us to plant things.
Okay, so like he wants us to do really low key first level World of Warcraft quests.
Yeah. And I'm gonna butcher this name. It's Orissa. It's Oriyis. Somebody can figure out how to pronounce that and let me know.
Orisis.
Because I sure as heck don't remember. We find out that he is a heretic who is leading raids on the town. He's forcibly indoctrinating people into his lesser volcano god's religion. Well,
Yeah, no, that totally tracks for mortals.
Yeah, totally normal. Everything's
No,
fine.
that is totally normal in the world of Exalted,
Yeah,
especially the further you get out from the realm.
It's totally fine. Well, we decided to go and do Cobweb's of Lies missions first and plant things. So he needs us to cause a distraction so that he can kill someone and replace him as his job. This is the part we were talking about earlier.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then Jammy comes in, so now we have Vision. We have our daycast with us. So we make plans, and then we lose Cavalier because Lewis needed to leave.
Because Lewis's job sucks.
Yeah, I don't know if he still has that job, but regardless. So we decide that Vision, Grief, and Cobweb, since they're all stealthy mofos, are going to use that stealth and sort of infiltrate Lord Grisham's place to kill him. And basically, they're going to kill him, and Cobweb's going to assume his form and his position. So they decide who to kill and whatnot. They rock, paper, scissors. Like, they can decide who kills them, I guess I should say.
Is Lord Grisham anything like John Grisham?
No.
Are you sure?
Pretty sure?
Okay.
I don't remember, but pretty sure. Well, at this point, everyone else and...
Do you know who John Grisham is? Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Yes, I do know who that is.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. I thought that it would be kind of funny if he was actually John Grisham and no one knew.
I mean, he could be a famous writer. Who knows? It might be his day job.
This is now my favorite headcanon.
All right.
That John Grisham is in the world of Exalted.
So at this point, everyone else, consisting of everyone else being, Shepard, Ark, and Void, are outside trying to keep people from coming in after the entourage that goes inside. And it's about a 50 to 60 person group, and there's a father, a mother, and a child. I don't have it written down what we did, but we're going to say what it was anyways.
So, So what we did is to let them get in, we had to stop the guard patrols from getting there. So to do that, we set up a small playground.
Ark is an architect. She literally just slammed her hands into the ground and just like, whoop!
Made a playground and a hookah for me to smoke on.
Hookah and pillows for you.
And
she's not old enough technically to smoke.
So I just kind of sat there and smoked and watched as the guards came. And because I have the word of passion, I just kind of went, snuff the heart's candle. You no longer want to do your job. And they just went, yeah, okay, I'm going to go off to the bar. My shift's done. And that was how we succeeded in making sure that the group did not get discovered from the outside.
Yeah, derailing guards and stuff. I don't remember what Shepard was doing. I know I was playing on the playground.
He might have been making, like, zombies for you to play with.
Maybe. Although I think, a kid playing with zombies on a playground would be kind of, obvious. But
Passion! You don't care about what you're seeing.
It's true. I also ended up leaving that playground there because, there's a child in that household. I also remember after we murdered the parents and replaced them, the small child was left all alone. I don't remember who I did it to, but Ark was super bored. She used her excision of understanding and basically took somebody's birthday from their mind from them. So they didn't know.
That's so mean!
She's not a good person.
That's so mean to take someone's birthday, though!
He'll never remember his birthday until somebody, tells him what his birthday is.
That's less mean.
Yeah. I just wanted to take something that was, like, simple and small and just to make a point of, I could do this bullshit.
Yeah, because we were basically doing level 1 WoW quests.
Yeah, and she was bored. She's smarter and better than this, so why the fuck would she do this?
Okay, so next we get on to...
Steve the 105th.
Okay.
Is made. Also, we reset the scene, and Ark makes the house better because she feels bad for the child because the house sucks.
Okay.
I mean, if you're gonna have both your parents replaced and, you're alone with, awful people, might as well have a nice house at least.
Yeah, may as well.
Yeah.
I've seen enough anime about this.
Yeah, so we do package delivery next with Courage of Fools. We find him in a dark alley, and he gives us a package with volatile substance inside of it, aka plagues in a box. Well, be the smart person that he is, he gives it directly to the small child. And, Shepard was like, no, we're not letting Ark hold the package. And she's like, this is my box. Do you want a box? I'll get you a box. And she just makes him a box and hands it to him. That can be your box. This is my box now. You don't remember that?
No, I do remember that, but the context of what you're saying, I really don't want to hear a small child talk about their box. This is getting into, like, weird the FBI is watching me territory.
Okay, how about this is my plague container?
This is my plague container. You can have a plague container minus a plague.
Yeah. So she
this is much better now. This is much better. Now we're on the CIA watch list.
So she made tons of non-plague containers and kept the plague container for herself because nobody wanted to give her the let her keep the plague container. So eventually, I think it was Vision who was just like, just let her keep the container. Let her have the plague container. Just don't shake it, okay, Ark? She's like, sure. So Void ends up transporting us to the dock where we drop it off, and hey, we finished another,
Is that where that I just used my like, hey, I can just throw my sword super far and then teleport to it?
I don't remember.
Because that does not sound like me transporting people. Me
It
transporting people
literally just
sounds like
says
that.
void transports us to a dock where we drop it off.
That sounds like I threw. So I had an ability where I could throw my sword and then transport to it. So that's probably what I did.
Probably not.
And I probably just had you on my. That is my headcanon.
I think we had alacrity, and you just made it easier for us to just bamf over there real quick.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know. Well, that mission was done. So we went to go find Feast of Nothing, who is also in a dark alley. More different dark alley.
I told you I was going to interrupt you here.
Was this for...
After the second mission of realizing, and after that it hit me, that we are doing bullshit level 1 WoW quests.
Was it after the second one?
It was after the second one and before the last one. We came up, and we go to Death Knell, and we're just, and I'm just like, hey man, what do you want us to do? And Joe starts talking, and I went, trick question, I didn't want you to fucking talk. Trick question, I don't care.
Alright.
Because he's literally giving us level 1...
You had journeys, didn't you, as Void?
No, but I was the Moon Shadow, so I had the journey thing as a extra gift.
Maybe. Because I also have another note about you having us fast travel. So, like, you had something that made us go quick.
I didn't have journeys because I had sword, alacrity, and passion. But because I was the Moon Shadow, I got the gift from Journey that let us travel without being hurt, because that's like the Eclipse version of you can go wherever you want so long as you don't disobey the rules.
Got it. Okay.
But yeah, no, totally like mouthed off to Joe. And this is the first of like 3 times that it happens. It happens once every fucking session. And every goddamn time that I do it, the entire table just erupts in laughter. Because no one's expecting me to like backtalk the fucking GM.
Well, we come to find out some gang is skimming off of Feast profits. And we make things to put in the carriage so that it looks normal, and Void fast travels us to where we need to go. As we're doing the handoff, we hear a scream and explosions, and we go towards it, and there's just this all-out riot with death, running, screaming, etc., etc. And there's these purple and blue shades of robes, like tall, long, wooden masks with toothy smiles, and one voice is ringing out over the others, and we just assume that this is the fucking cult for Osiris, or I think it's Osiris.
Probably Osiris.
Osiris. So it's just a mob of cultists. It's just a mob.
It's a mob of cultists for the Aussie.
Yeah, sure, that works for me. And we just sit and just blit through this, mob. Just vomit all over this mob and ruin their lives. Well, we find this idol of invigoration that's summoning things or something. We're just not entirely sure what it is going on. And we do all these things to kind of try to prevent it. But these 2 earth fire elementals end up appearing. Apparently they were charcoal elementals, was I think our running joke, because they were earth and fire.
Yep.
So Shepard turns the elementals against their master, the cult leader, and when they actually go to like turn on him to attack him, he desummons them, and we just keep fighting, and now we have Steve the 106th. He ended up dying, and he summoned a new one.
Right, but there's like 4 Steves missing.
Is there? I'm pretty sure it was Steve 105th. Yeah, no, it was Steve 105th.
Oh, I thought it was 102nd.
No, it was 82nd, I think was the other one.
Okay.
So this dude, the Orisius, Basius, whatever,
Ozzy
Orisius is now dead, but he keeps fighting anyways, like something is keeping him alive. He's just being puppeted at this point. Shepard uses Keeper of Graves to find Black Storm, born of the Forge of Souls. We end up putting Orisius' soul in the soul cage, since we didn't end up using it on Klaxon because we got him to agree to join us. And then we head back to Faffel to interrogate Orisius' soul. I'm just gonna keep saying different weird, not correct pronunciations that are barely words. Fine. and we take a ship to get to the mainland. There's this bolt of black lightning, and there's a figure is left in the wake of this lightning strike. And we can make out this shape that's roughly 9 feet tall in armor. The whole body's just massive, and he's holding this equally massive giant two-handed axe, and he's got this helmet with horns that are curling down. And that's where we end the session. But we're pretty sure that was Blackstorm born of Forge of Souls, since Shepard did some bullshit. Which, spoiler, it's definitely Blackstorm born of Forge of Souls, and he's might be a Death Lord, but it's fine. Everything's fine.
Okay, so remember to hit that like button, subscribe, comment, let your friends and family know about us, and that word of mouth is the best way to really spread things. We've been telling people, and we've been getting more stuff. We really appreciate everyone who's been with us for 20 weeks so far, following us on this journey.
Yeah, love you guys.
We are, next week we should be wrapping up with Raising the Legion Sanguinary. We're going to be, I'm going to be talking a lot more, as I'm in it for a lot more of it, and then also know how the ending of this is supposed to go.
So we've got 2 more sessions to make it through, which are equally as weird as everything else has been, and then Brendan's going to be like, so this is how it was supposed to end, and this is kind of the changes that are made between, what this campaign was versus how it relates to my campaign, and then after that episode, the next episode will be back to normal. Air quotes, normal
I
exalted
really
campaign.
kind of am missing talking about the normal exalted campaign. This is a little weird to go through for me, because it's like, before I was just backseat GM being like, oh, this is what I meant to do with this, or this is how this links up to this, and I really felt like I got to talk a lot more, and now it's like, yep, this is a game. This is in fact a game that I was a part of for the last 3 sessions.
Yep, as opposed to missing like the first 7 sessions?
Yeah, it was a little rough to get through, if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, just from not being part of it, and just...
From not being part of it, yeah.
Okay.
And also, like, the comments that I've made along the way. I do not retract those comments.
Yeah.
So, anyway, for A Pair of Dice Lost podcasting channel, I'm Brendan.
I've been Christina.
And always remember to let your good dice roll.